Hey everyone, I'm Joanna Rogister, and this is Real Talk Wellness Renegade at Speak Up and Empower. Speak Up and Empower is an online community of heart-centered people that are focused on creating the world that they envision for themselves. As an expert, I want to share what I've learned and the wisdom and knowledge and the information that I have brought together because it has affected my life, and I want to help you change your life. So if you're someone that's just searching for more information, then please find out more about us at speakupandempower.com. So I am Joanna Rogister, Wellness Renegade. I am a homeopath, a intuitive life coach, and a nutritionist. And I spend a lot of my time working with clients that have reached a point in their lives when they're just tired of feeling crappy. They're tired of being tired. They're tired of not knowing, what brings them joy, what brings them happiness. They're tired of the imbalances that are present in their body, and they're just searching for more information of what works best for them, because this is one of the biggest challenges for anyone that's trying to get healthy, is to figure out what works for them. We are all so metabolically individual that what works for someone living in one house may not work for the other person living in the house, depending upon their life stage, depending upon their parents, depending upon their stress levels. There's so many factors that affect us that it's almost impossible for someone to just figure it out on their own. And this is the issue, because there's so many myths and so much misinformation out there. But also, there's so much information about Western medicine, but so often a lot of us don't understand all the natural therapies that are available to us. And that's my biggest focus, is trying to share with you natural therapies that are available, how they work, why they work, when you should be utilizing them. Because ideally, when you're in touch with your body and you're listening to what's going on mentally, emotionally, and physically, then you can make adjustments when you notice something different. And this is one of the biggest things that a lot of us are challenged by, is to really understand or to notice when there's something different going on in their bodies. So the more you can be that observer and sit back and think, that's different from where it was, what's going on, and figure out, what can be done to alter your present state, then you can step forward and move towards being healthier. So to help you on this journey, today I wanted to talk about the keto lifestyle, the ketogenic diet. It's not a diet, because it's a way of living, a way of eating, as opposed to a diet. Because this has come up a lot of times for me recently, with people saying, well, I don't want to lose weight. I want to either put on weight, or I want to maintain my weight. I don't want to lose the weight. And that's wonderful. That's obviously the exception, unfortunately, but it is the ketogenic diet is actually a weight maintenance program. When you step into it in the beginning and move towards letting go of all those carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are not just pastas and breads and things like that. Carbohydrates are found in anything, any plants, any fruits, fruits, vegetables, any of the pastas, starches. That's all very high in carbohydrates. And so this is a challenge for a lot of people, because a lot of people say, I can't give up my bread. I can't give up that pasta. I'm challenged to give up my rice or my potatoes. And I get it, right? There are, lots of gluten-free breads out there, but the problem is a lot of those gluten-free breads are very high in carbs. There's other ways that they've, compensated for it. And pastas, same thing with a lot of pastas, but there are lots of alternatives. But I think one of the biggest things I'd love you to understand is why keto is so good for you. One of the biggest things is that your brain functions better when you're following a ketogenic diet. And the reason for that is that the brain, Alzheimer's and type 3 diabetes, now it is believed that this comes about because of your brain's inability to metabolize glucose, or your brain's inability to utilize glucose as an energy source. And we're so used to thinking that the only thing that can energize us is sugar, or pastas, and all carbs. And that's just it's not true. When you are born, you are in a keto state, a ketogenic state, because the mother's milk is full of fat. The placenta has tons of ketones in it. You're being fed fats, not carbs. And it's not till we change over and we start eating a high level carbohydrate diet that we switch over. So some of you, all of us, have been in ketosis when we were first born. Some of us have never been in ketosis again, but it is possible to get back to that. And so what is ketosis? What is a ketogenic diet all about? If you don't know, I'll give some quick basics. So when there is an absence of carbohydrates in your body, your muscles and your brain will search for fat to use as energy. When your body utilizes fat as an energy source, the fat gets broken down in your kidneys and it's released. And one of the byproducts of that breaking down of the fat is the creation of ketones. And ketones, when they're present in your body, will give you increased clarity, increased focus, reduced inflammation, better sleep, increased oxygen carrying capacity of your blood. So your blood pressure will be lower than it was before. There's so many factors here. Better mood, which is truly wonderful, especially for anyone that's going through perimenopause, menopause, men that are going through their midlife crisis or andropause. All of these things add up. And, I've heard, my brother who lives in Australia is a huge proponent of the keto diet. And when he's out on his travels, people will actually say, thank you for giving me my husband back. Because we as women understand hormones better than men do. And if you can get your body back into balance, then your hormones can be balanced also. And then your moods are better. Sleep is better. There's so many amazing things here. So within your body, the brain will search for fat or the ketones as an energy source. It does it automatically. Within your body will search for glucose first, because glucose can be used up very quickly. It's a much quicker energy source. It comes into the body, is used up quickly, and is gone within 90 minutes. But ketones, fat, is used it takes about 3 hours for that fat to be used, to be broken down and used. So fat is 36% more efficient as an energy source than ketones are. So the brain will search for that fat first. The muscles will search for sugar first and use it up quickly. But if you're throwing all those ketones in there, creating all those ketones, then your body will quickly have ketones for you. So consider the ketogenic diet. And if anyone tells you that all they're eating is meat all the time, then they're actually doing the ketogenic diet wrong. So because the keto diet is actually high fat, medium protein, low carb. And so if you're eating a lot of meat, you're getting a lot of protein. And that protein eventually actually will be converted into glucose in your body, because your body can't handle all of that protein. And that's the old Atkins diet. We know, if you don't know, there was a lot of issues with the Atkins diet over time. You get into muscle wasting and, a lot of issues, very hard on the kidney, and lots of damage was done eventually when it was not done correctly. So the ketogenic diet, high fat. And this is the issue, is that a lot of people are really challenged to wrap their head around the fact that fat is good for us. And I know I catch myself sometimes doing that too, that I, look at a recipe or a meal and think, there's so much fat in that, but that's okay as long as those carbs are not there. So some of the other benefits of the keto diet, there are lots and lots, but if you have issues with migraines and a lot of other hormonal imbalances, then I would suggest to you to take a look at the keto diet and come to understand it more. Reach out to me at the website that's there and, ask me a question, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, or my email is joanna@joannarochester.com, because the keto diet can be really, really good for you. It is not for everyone, although it is for a majority of the people. A lot of people that say it's not for them, it's just, they don't understand it enough, and they haven't been given the options. They don't understand the options that are available. For example, pastas. There's all kinds of spiralized zucchini that you can buy now, or you can spiralize it yourself. There's very inexpensive spiralizers that you can purchase, and you can use that as your pasta. There are some really good low carb pastas, pre-prepared pastas out there. You can certainly make your own, although I must admit I've tried that and it is a little bit more challenging, but there are lots of alternatives. Pizza crust, there's like cauliflower pizza crust, coconut pizza crust, a chicken pizza crust. There's all kinds of alternatives. There's a lot of, depending upon the city that you live in. I live in London, Ontario, and there's probably 4 or 5 really great keto stores where they also have, pre-made foods that are frozen, things along that lines. So there's some really great stores that are out there. But I would also really suggest to you to tap into the amazing number of Facebook pages and groups that are out there that will help you on your journey. There's recipes posted. Lynn Grushka has she's going to kill me. There is the Keto Happy Life, and there is tap into Lynn Grushka, and she can help you and get onto the website. I don't remember what the page is. And Sherry Walker Brown. Both of them have really amazing communities, and they're sharing information constantly about keto and information and recipes, as I said, and ideas and tips and everything like that. So check it out and find out more, because there is so much information out there that I don't want to waste a lot of time. But so I would encourage you to understand. So, for example, I don't have breakfast, but for lunch, a really great salad with nuts and seeds on top, some cheese, some tomatoes. I don't eat meat myself, so there is another objection that comes up quite often that, how do you, they don't eat meat, so how do you do it without meat? I don't eat meat, but I do eat some seafood once in a while, and cheese and eggs and things along that lines. So yesterday for lunch, I had a big mixed green salad. I took a small can of tuna and I added a little bit of mayo. The tuna I always buy in oil now as opposed to with water. So I mixed mayo, and I had some pickles and some cheese curds and a tomato sliced up. And that was my salad. It was a full plate of it, but the biggest ingredient was that mixed greens that was there along with the tomato. But the tuna, small can of tuna, and that's a great lunch to have. If you do eat meat, then always with your meals, always cook extra protein and throw that on top of your salad the next day. And then for dinner last night, I had stuffed portobello mushrooms, and it was stuffed with some diced tomatoes with some spices thrown in, some cherry tomatoes, some grated cheese, and then some basil on top. And they were delicious. That only took me about 15-20 minutes to make, and some big portobellos, and then there's leftovers for the next day that can be reheated. So, with that, with the portobellos, if you eat meat and you find you need more, then you could have added some ground beef into there, or ground chicken, or ground turkey, or sausages, something along that line. So there's always alternatives. If you ever question, take your favorite recipe and just Google or add keto to it while you're Googling it, and you'll get amazing recipes that will come up that will help you in your journey. The other thing that I would also remind you to do is to drink lots and lots and lots of water. The ketogenic diet is a natural diuretic, so it actually pushes fluids out of your body, and so you need to replace those fluids. And because what can happen is you start drinking all this water and it can flow out. So the other thing that you want to do is add electrolytes. This is the one that I use, Vega Sport. I also work for a company that has an amazing electrolyte that's designed for the ketogenic diet. I just didn't happen to have it with me right now, but I add a scoop of that to what I drink every single morning, and that will help ensure. So these are electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. These will, what else is in there? Vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, selenium, copper, chromium, and chloride. This will ensure that the fluids that you're taking in and the nutrients are carried across the cell barrier and get into the cell instead of just being flushed right out when you're drinking that much water. So just be aware that this is a great alternative. And one of the other things to think about too is that a lot of people talk about the keto flu or the bad taste in their mouth. So oftentimes that can be rectified. The keto flu is often, and the headaches too, is because you're dehydrated. You're just not drinking enough water, or you're not absorbing that water. So once again, the electrolytes, or if you want to keep it really simple, just take a quarter teaspoon or an eighth a teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt or some sea salt, add it to a glass of water in the morning, and that will get that electrolyte into your body and be more effective. The keto flu, once again, the headaches are often because of dehydration, so electrolytes will help with that. The taste in the mouth, the keto bad breath that can often happen is often because of the dehydration also. But if you find that it's not going away, then boost up your carbs a little bit. And that's a great idea for anyone that has hormonal imbalances. If you've got hormonal imbalances, then it depends what it is. And this is where you need to work with someone in order to figure out what the hormonal imbalance is. But oftentimes, especially for women that are growing up, is that it's that estrogen imbalance or a testosterone-progesterone ratio imbalance. And so we need to bring yourself back to balance. And so sometimes if you are finding that you're challenged to lose weight, then to have a higher carb day. So one day a week or one day every other week, then throw in a high carb day. And by high carb, I mean more fruits and vegetables that are high carbs. So, you may throw in some potatoes that day or sweet potatoes or something along that lines to get those carbs out in a more natural way. The other thing to think about with the keto diet is to add MCT oil, coconut oil. MCT oil is derived from coconut oil, medium chain triglyceride. It's just getting a good fat into your body. If you drink coffee in the morning, that's a way to do it. If you have your salads, cook always with butter or ghee or depends if you're sauteing, cook it with those, or extra virgin olive oil, but ideally you're cooking with coconut oil or avocado oil all of the time. Just gets more good fats into your body without that need for all the extra protein. Put mayo on your sandwiches. Ideally it's a keto mayo because mayo can have extra sugars in it. Or make your own. That's kind of the perfect way. Caesar salads are good too if you're making your own. A lot of times Caesar salads have a lot of sugars in them if you're buying the commercial Caesar salad. So just start to read the labels more and find out more. If you've got, just going to mention migraines. If you've got migraines, the ketogenic diet has helped a lot of people eliminate their migraines for a variety of reasons, but it can get into a neurotransmitter that's in your brain and is found in much higher levels. And the ketogenic diet and the ketones can help your body prevent that from crossing the blood-brain barrier. There also is a product that I use every single day too, and it's called, they're exogenous ketones. And it is a supplement that I drink for breakfast every day. And it just looks like that. It's a powder that you put in water. And it is a great way to put extra ketones in your body and to allow, to give yourself that break, especially if you're really busy and can't do lunch or, things along that lines, then it is a great alternative. It will also increase brain focus and clarity because the ketones are present. It also allows you to get into intermittent fasting, which I'm going to talk about in 1 second, but it also helps you to reduce your caloric intake because you're drinking that for breakfast. It's not a meal replacement, but if you're putting that energy source into your body, then that can be all that your body needs. I used to think that breakfast was the biggest meal of the day, that you had to drink breakfast. Well, now I come to realize that I don't, right? So I drink that, it puts ketones into my body, I have the energy, and it carries me through till lunch most of the time. If I am hungry at about 10 or 11, then I know I haven't had enough fat the day before. So there's lots of things, but that product, Prove It. If you want more information, check out my website. I've got it under nutritional information or something like that, or reach out. But it is a great alternative. Now, intermittent fasting accelerates, improves any change that you're going to make along a ketogenic line. The intermittent fasting is stopping only eating between a certain number of hours a day, like between 12 and 8. And so during the rest of that time, from 8 o'clock until 11:59 the next day, you give your body a break. You allow it to utilize the food, utilize the nutrients that you put in your body, and allows it to then do the work that it needs to do to cleanse and clear and detoxify the rest of the time. And that allows it to clean itself out. Our liver, this absolutely amazing organ, has something over 300 functions within it. But so much of what the liver does, it has to set aside the toxins and store it to deal with it later, because we put so much junk into our body that it's constantly working. So when we can get into intermittent fasting, then we can allow that liver and all the other organs to do the work that they need to do uninterrupted without throwing food into our body. It allows our organs to balance, it allows our hormones to get balanced, our organs to cleanse and clear themselves, and it reduces the caloric intake. Scientists used to say the best thing that you could do for your body was reduce calories. Well, we now know that it's actually intermittent fasting along with the caloric intake. And so how do you do that? Well, that's, so you eat a great lunch, the salad that I talked about, a big lunch. If you need more, then eat more, a good healthy meal. And then, you stop eating after dinner, and then you go that full 16 hours without eating and giving your body that break, reducing those calories. But there are a couple, quantifiers here. You've got to eat well in that 8 hours. You've got to give your body nutrients, not a lot more carbohydrates, but once again, that good fat, lots of nutrients from, lots of veggies and some fruit. And all of this will add up and really clear that brain, increase your clarity, increase your focus, and help you to move through life with more joy. You will start losing weight if you do that. Your body can't help but to lose weight when you combine that intermittent fasting with caloric reduction, as long as you're eating right. And this is the big thing, right? So the biggest thing, if you're looking at changing the way you're eating, is to plan your meals. Plan your meals. Sit down on Saturday and go shopping on Sunday. And, if you can, cook on Sunday. But otherwise, even if you've got your meals planned out for you, then you will save money, you will save time. There won't be that question every single night about what are we having for dinner? And then, you get hungry and you eat foods that aren't for your best and greatest good because you haven't planned and you haven't prepared. So if you can plan your meals every Sunday, just write out a quick menu, then you can always have enough for your lunch the next day. You can always be pulling out food. We're having chicken for dinner tonight, pull that out and have that. And, once again there, if you want to move towards a meatless meal, then you can. It's not for everyone. And especially if you're just diving into the keto way of eating, to pull out protein all of a sudden is not good either, because it's challenging enough to eat right. Without pulling out the meat all of a sudden too. So what I recommend for clients is, take a step forward, right? Eliminate that bread and see what happens. You can use lettuce. You can just, lettuce wraps. There's all kinds of lettuce, romaine lettuce wraps or Boston lettuce wraps, and use wraps for your sandwiches if you feel that you need to. But it is surprising how quickly, once we step away from it, that we don't need it really, right? So much of it is a habit, a mindset that we get stuck into. So moving away from thinking, I need my pasta, I need my potatoes, I need my bread. I can remember years ago, someone that, when I advised her that I was eating, not eating meat anymore. And I said, well, let's go out for lunch. We can try this great vegetarian restaurant. She's like, well, what will fill me up? And it's just an old habit, a way of thinking. And the more you eat right, the more you'll see that you can be filled up very quickly with foods. And I cooked at a few retreats years ago, and everyone said, well, I have to have my meat. I have to have my meat. And I went, okay, but try it for a couple of days and see what happens. And if you're hungry, I'll make sure that I add meats to the meals, but not once. In 3 years that I did it, there was never one single time that someone said, well, I have to have the meat. Once again, it's not for everyone. Some people need meat in their diet. Some people are truly the omnivore and they need meat, but a lot of us need a lot less meat. And even a lot of us need a lot less protein than we've been accustomed to, that we've been in a habit of consuming. So take a look at the protein. You don't need protein at every single meal. There are alternatives to having that protein. You get protein even in fruits and vegetables. There's small amounts of protein in those, which is really challenging. But also, when you're eating, moving towards keto, you're going to start eliminating your grains and legumes and things along that line. So it is a transition, but take one step tomorrow to cut out some of the bread, or cut out pasta the next night and try the spiralized zucchini, or cut out, rather than having a burger on a bun, have a burger on a big salad. And I have burgers, I use the vegetarian burgers, but I just have like tomatoes, a bed of lettuce, tomatoes, the burger, the onion, the pickles, all the other stuff. I eat it all together, and it works. And when you're going out to restaurants, most restaurants now have keto versions. Like, they'll pull out the bread and give you an alternative, and either they've got a gluten-free or a low carb, or they'll do something for you, even if it's a larger chain, just because so many people are trying to eat healthier. And that's another maybe slight warning, is that a lot of those gluten-free or keto foods are actually not so much the keto, but certainly the gluten-free. If you're thinking that you're doing really good for yourself, a lot of those foods have a lot of chemicals added to them, a lot of extra salts along that lines to make them taste better and to make up for that doughiness that we're always looking for in our breads. And don't get me wrong, I don't eat clean keto. I still love, where was I recently? Oh my gosh, they had the best fresh bread. Oh, I was away visiting my daughter, and we went out for dinner, and they had fresh bread, a little baguette from the oven, and oh my gosh, it was good. Served along with the balsamic vinegar and olive oil, of course. So that was keto, but not the bread. And balsamic vinegar, even a small amount of the balsamic vinegar, that's okay, right? So don't cut yourself off completely, but start to move towards adding more fats to your diet. It will make you feel better. It will give you better clarity and focus, and you will start to lose weight when you cut out those foods, those sugars from your body. Less aches and pains in your joints, reduced headaches, skin will clear up. So often, a lot of people, that if you're really bloating, a lot of the times that is sugar that you are sensitive to. And, I've seen people that, within 10 minutes of eating a piece of cake look like they're pregnant. So there's lots that can be done to change the way you feel, and to feel, to move towards a healthier lifestyle. So, sorry, I just got distracted there. So if you have any questions, any concerns, want more information, please reach out. And, my website, once again, email is joanne@joannarogister.com, but I'm also Real Talk Wellness Renegade, Wellness Renegades. You can find me all over the place. And if you have any other topics that you'd like to be discussed, I will be having guests in the future. So please, there's so much information out there. Just take one step, one piece of information, one single thing that I suggested to you today, and try it tomorrow. And you will see significant change in the future. Joanna Rogister, this was Real Talk Wellness Renegades, part of Speak Up and Empower's online community of heart-centered people. that are trying to create the world that they envision for themselves. Check us out at www.speakupandempower.com. And, join us again next Tuesday at 10 o'clock for Real Talk Wellness Renegades, where I talk more each week about natural therapies and how to use them to heal yourself, to move towards a better you. Medicine should never be considered one or the other, but ideally, once you come to understand, you use natural therapies first, and that will help you move towards a better you without having to incorporate the Western medicine. But never think that it is one or the other. Joanna Rochester, have an amazing day. Thanks for joining us.